Hey guys, happy Saturday. Welcome back. If you've been following the channel, you know I've been providing some ongoing coverage of an AI company, Railtown AI, and their ongoing plans to effect a merger with AI partnerships, also what we'll call here AIP. Railtown trades on the CSE up in Canada under the ticker symbol RAIL, and here in the US on the OTC markets under the ticker RLAIF. Together over the past few months, we have talked deal mechanics, how this deal might be structured, potential dilution from share issuance to fund the deal, and some educated guesses on any revenue synergies from integrating Conductor across AIP's network of affiliates. No hype here, no price targets, just some reasonable analysis to try and unpack the puzzle pieces and see if we have a trade here. The PR finally came out October 8th that the deal is done. So let's do a quick check-in. Grab a coffee, let's break it down factually and forward-looking. And as always, this is my analysis based on public information, not specific investment advice for you. Always do your own DD. First off, congratulations to the Railtown team getting this deal across the finish line after 9 months of negotiations, valuations, regulatory hurdles, and integration planning is no small feat. For context, AIP brings a powerhouse to this deal. Affiliates spanning 13 countries, touching fintech, healthcare, manufacturing, and more. And pair that with Railtown's tools like Conductor for software developer productivity, and you've got a setup primed for scaling enterprise AI solutions. My earlier estimates on revenue, some downplayed them as too conservative. However, if they deploy even partially across the network, the new network combined with AIP, we are talking potential recurring revenue streams in the low millions initially, ramping up above that with new acquisitions. Dilution-wise, the share issuance to AIP holders looks manageable, around 20 to 25% based on the terms. But as I counseled you guys over the last several months to be aware, it was always going to be that sort of dilution trade-off for this kind of bolt-on growth with AIP partnerships. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the stock chart here on the screen. Post-close on this AIP deal, Railtown has not lit up the tape like some had hoped, like others had hyped, and we're seeing a bit of a pullback from recent highs, dipping all the way down to 40 cents on Friday, closing Friday on the OTC at 43 cents. Markets are funny, especially in speculative OTC tickers. Hype can drive the pops, which we saw in the past month or so, but sustained moves need execution proof. So here with Railtown, the lack of an immediate run-up that others might have promised you stems from a few things. Perhaps a broader AI sector rotation as investors chase bigger cap stocks or other plays. Maybe some profit taking here on the Railtown chart after the long wait, 9 months of trying to get this deal done. Or maybe it is just that weird phase where the market is digesting the news and waiting for the next news drop. What we're seeing on the chart here is not necessarily a red flag. It's just a reminder that acquisitions and speculative AI companies can often be a marathon, not a sprint. Remember that value often compounds quietly in the background before it shows up on the chart. And so now my message to you with Railtown remains the same as it has been since July. A very reasonable message, I think. Understand the risks. Make sure you're sizing your trade appropriately. Nobody has any real data yet. We're waiting on revenue and earnings in the future, and it is important to keep those things in mind much more so than any hype put out by YouTubers out talking about this ticker. I have seen the chatter out there on social media about Railtown, and I get it when someone like me has a different opinion than you. Sometimes it can feel personal. I assure you that it's not. But when there are people out there throwing moonshot price targets out to you guys, like $55. They're often going to try and label more balanced views like mine as working for the shorts. You guys have heard this a million different times on a million different tickers. If someone doesn't match my DD, then they must be working for the shorts. A really ridiculous take and a really disingenuous way to provide balanced coverage to you guys. I will never accuse someone of working for the shorts just because they have a different opinion. I embrace different opinions and use them to challenge my own DD. Perhaps I missed something. Let's be real. Those of us that are trying to provide you guys reasonable analysis are not the bad guys here. My goal is always to empower you with facts and help you make good decisions, certainly not to tear down your dreams. I share my thoughts, my opinions, my analysis, and then you use that along with your own due diligence, your own research to make up your own mind. It is fun to speculate. We all do it from time to time. But when people overpromise or are just creating guesses pulled out of thin air, it often leads to the broader audience, the broader investor base, getting frustrated when those promises of a moonshot don't materialize overnight. So what about the dip that we have on the chart? Look, if you're a long game player and you believe in AI, you believe in the power of Railtown's products and the partnership with AIP, I think if you have the right long-term perspective, this might be a good dip buying opportunity. But let's be real with ourselves that where this chart goes from here is going to be dependent on Railtown providing some revenues and earnings in upcoming quarters for the market to really judge this company and the new partnership with AIP. With Railtown, I've tried to stick to fundamentals and reasonable analysis, letting you guys know what is going to happen, and we've come really, really close to being accurate with exactly what would happen with Railtown. And I think that fundamentals and balanced analysis is what matters over the long term. And you got to learn to let go all of the noise, the hype, and the pumping that is going on out there on social media, unless these people can really back up their message with a track record of results. And frankly, for many, that is just not the case. So to close on a positive note, what is next for Railtown and AIP? Let's keep our eyes on a few milestones. What additional news announcements do they have for us? When is management going to give us some forward guidance on expectations? And if they don't, how many quarters need to go by for us to get some updates on revenues and earnings now that the two entities are combined? Expect a peek at these updated revenues and earnings to drive the price. Merger accounting should start shining a light on the pipes coming in from AIP and this new entity being together with Railtown. Watch for phased rollouts of conductor to affiliates. Cross our fingers on that. And even early wins there could juice partnerships and juice overall revenue. The dilution that we were worried about, that we guessed and speculated about, that is now in the rearview mirror. We know exactly what we're dealing with. The market focus will likely and rightly so shift to revenue, cash flow, and cash burn. My take is very simple. If the execution matches the vision, this partnership between Railtown and AIP and the way it could grow could provide a real niche here in AI enablement and software development. But it will likely take quarters, maybe years, not the days or weeks as many of you are being promised elsewhere on social media. That is the update here today on Railtown. The good news, the AIP merger, that box is checked. Here though, remember to keep realism dialed in, and that optimism for Railtown, it will be earned through results, so stay tuned. What are you watching the most here? Drop me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you have any questions, please leave them down below. If it's your first time here, make sure and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future updates on Railtown. And if you have any other tickers that you are watching or interested in some analysis on, be sure and drop those in the comments for me as well. I am Tony Denaro. Have a blessed weekend, and I will see you on the next video.